Collective of Prostitutes, we've worked together, not Laura, she's too young, but over the last 30 odd years. And it's always a pleasure supporting them, but sometimes you have to preface your remarks by an explanation. The ECP came and canvassed for me for the election. They do every time. It's fantastic. But when I explain to my constituency party that there's a group of prostitutes who are coming over to help us on the talk, it engenders the debate about the issue itself. But I tell you, I started working with Selma James and Nina Lopez-Jones in the 80s when they were organising sex workers for the first time in this country, and they were being pilloried and ostracised as a result. But then what happened was Ipswich happened later on. Some of you may know a number of prostitutes were murdered in Ipswich, and we brought together a group in Parliament and we went through all the arguments around safety and vulnerability, and this issue around decriminalisation became at its core. And this last couple of years we've been under real assault in terms of the attempts within Parliament to increase the way in which sex workers are marginalised. In addition to that, the way in which they've tried to change the law to criminalise. And we've had to run a campaign, and to be frank, it's been an incredibly contentious campaign against members of the Labour Party and Tories and others. And what's been interesting about it, those people who went through the Ipswich experience, and the person who chaired some of those meetings was one of the local priests. Those people who went through the Ipswich experience are the ones, the most solid backers that we've had in that campaign, because they've experienced what went on the ground and what the ECP has been explaining to people for so long. First of all, there has to be recognition of sex work, recognition of sex workers themselves, the protection of their rights, but above all else, their safety secured. And that's what this campaign has always been about. That's why when ECP came along and explained to the LRC their position, that's why we thought it was so important. Some of the most vulnerable workers in the country within our society, it was important that we ensure they're on our platforms and putting their information out. And I thought Laura did that brilliantly tonight. But it's a heroic campaign that can easily be isolated from the rest of the Labour movement. And we have some bizarre elements of it as well. 2 years ago,